Good morning. It is a Wednesday morning gentle yoga, and I welcome you and I applaud you for taking a class in yoga to do good things for yourself. This week, our practices are inspired by the gesture of the fish, Matsya Mudra. Matsya Mudra is a wonderful hand seal. We take it by basically placing one hand on top of the other. And in that way, our thumbs look like fins, or, fish's fins on the outside, flippers, lucky fins, right? Okay, so this, obviously is aligned with water as an element. And the gesture of the fish, or the Matsya Mudra, and you may be familiar with the word Matsya because it is a root Sanskrit word for Matsyendrasana, which is seated twisted pose, but it's actually a fishy kind of pose. And for Matsyana, which is the Lord of the Fish. And these are heart opening poses. But what this pose reminds us to do is to be resilient and to flow through life's circumstances, bringing to our lives some flexibility of the mind and of our willingness to adapt to what is before us. So it's a really wonderful, wonderful reminder of our need to do that. So the mantra that may come with this is, bathed in waves of nourishing energy, my body moves freely and comfortably. So I want you to think about that freedom of movement of the body, much like if you were in a swimming pool, because the core quality of this also is healthy joints. And the reason I'm connecting the swimming pool with healthy joints is that's a type of exercise or therapy frequently recommended for people that have joint disorders, arthritis, back problems, because it's supportive of the body and it allows you to move without the gravity of pulling down on the earth, creating difficulty for you, creating that resistance, creating that heaviness. So, exercise in a pool, you always feel like you're just floating when you're in a pool. So think of that, taking that experience of floating in the pool into daily living. So we always talk about how life on the mat can be taken off the mat. The lessons you learn here, you can use out in the big wide world. Yoga is about much more than exercise, and it's about more than breathing. It's also about learning about yourself, turning inward, turning away from the noise and the chaos out there, finding your own way to be who you're going to be. So this mudra is especially helpful for releasing muscular contraction, for nourishing the joints, for aligning your spine, reducing stress, instilling a sense of inner refreshment, and cultivating emotional fluidity. So that right there is the trick about resilience, having fluidity. This is about releasing attachments as well. And when I say releasing attachments to expectations, to what we thought would be or what we are used to, and learning to accept what is. So there's no greater embodiment than living in the here and the now. So the imagery that I have been using is how the fish meanders through the water, and the fish moves and just kind of weaves and bobs as it swims through the coral or the kelp or the seagrasses. And the fish is just looking ahead, looking for the path that's open, the path of least resistance. And so I invite you to think that way, to just be looking forward and looking for the ways to be least resistant in your circumstances. And as something comes at you, you just kind of turn and find another way, that creativity. So thinking about those properties of the fish and of the Matsya Mudra and of Matsyama, the two chakras that I can say seem like they would be most stimulated through this would be the sacral chakra. The element of that chakra is water, and it's about flexibility and playfulness and creativity and kind of finding your way, the making lemonade rather out of lemons. But it also makes me think of the heart chakra, because when we take fish pose, we open up the heart. We also open up the throat. So we are going to take fish pose today. We're going to take fish pose in the rest of our classes this week. And if you've never done fish pose, it's really a beautiful, beautiful pose. And there are different ways to approach it. So even in chair yoga, we're going to take fish pose this week. So I'm going to set this aside. And I'm going to invite you to sit on a bolster or a block or a thick blanket. It's really a good idea whenever you start any yoga practice, when we're starting off in our seated pose to begin our practices. We don't always have to start seated, but when we do, I recommend that you elevate your hips. When we elevate our hips, we can create that fluidity that I'm describing to you, because it gives them space for the knees to open up and come down close to the floor without tension in this hip crease here in the hip joint. It allows the hip joint to open up freely. And it's honoring the body and where you happen to be now. So if you want to be directly on the mat, I think you should do what feels good to you. But after many, many years of yoga, I still enjoy sitting on top of something. And in this way, I can sit nice and tall. So as we are going to be stimulating the throat and the heart chakra, it's important that we be able to lift up the heart center. And when we are sitting up and we allow our hips to slightly tilt forward, we have a pelvis bowl that we're basically tipping forward just a little bit. By doing so, we encourage that natural curve of the lower back, and we encourage the heart center to lift up and the shoulders to drop down. And we encourage the neck to be long. So keeping in mind this gesture that also encourages healthy joints, well, one of the things that encourages healthy joints, all of our joints in the body, is to create space for them to align properly. So when our spine is in healthy alignment, everything follows from there. We have lots of nerve endings that go to various parts of the body off of the different parts of the spine, and we have discs and we have little tiny facet joints that hold our vertebrae together, that surround those discs. And when those discs start to lose moisture or other forces cause them to compress, you might have bulging discs. And when those discs bulge, then they're going to put pressure on these various nerves. So if you, say, are driving and your hands are going numb, the place where you're experiencing that pressure is in one of the discs of your cervical spine, which is your neck area. If you're having sciatica in one or both of your legs, there's a possibility that you're having some compression of the sciatic nerve as it comes out of the nerve root of the lower back. So there are different places that you will feel that compression. But here's the thing. A lot of times we just have muscular tension as the body is trying to adjust to the alignment that might not be proper. So if we have a tendency to sit with our shoulders rolled and our neck drawn forward, this is also going to cause a lot of tension and potentially erosion of the vertebrae right here in the cervical area and of the shoulders, and these muscles that sit on top of the shoulders, the trapezius muscles, they can get very, very tight. And when you have that tightness, it goes into the neck. And when it's in the neck, it goes into the head, and maybe it travels even downward. And everything is like interconnected. So it starts with alignment. So when you're sitting here, beautifully aligned, it creates space for all of the joints to move more freely. So I invite you on or off the mat to seek a posture where your back can be tall and your neck can be long. And when you do that, you engage all of these core muscles here. You engage the muscles in the front of the stomach, you engage the muscles in your sideways, and you engage pretty much the entire chain of your back muscles. And when you do that, you're strengthening your body. So now I invite you to take Matsya Mudra, place one hand on top of the other, and your thumbs are out to the sides. It might be easier for you to maintain this either by having your hands directly in front of you and your fingers pointed forward, or you can even drop them down. It doesn't really matter, but what I want you to focus on now is drawing those shoulders down, lifting up your heart center. Imagine that somebody has two thumbs and they're sort of lifting up your heart from behind as well. And then draw your crown of your head up nice and tall, making a nice long neck. Start to breathe in and out evenly. Expanding your gills. And think of maximum exchange. Think of that process just to distract your mind. Think of that process of the oxygen exchange as the fish is drawing in water, gathering the oxygen out of the water and then exhaling water again. So in keeping with being a fish for now, imagine yourself as you breathe in and out evenly and slowly, moving around in the water effortlessly, fluidly. Focus on just the moment. And set in your mind as you breathe, what are your sensory experiences here? What is life like underwater? Are you close to the surface? Is there light coming down from above? Are you deeper down? What does the water feel like on your skin? What do things sound like? We've all felt the freedom of being underwater, our hair floating up and away from our head. Imagine if as part of that experience, you could just breathe while you were in the water. Let's take a couple of more breath cycles. One more inhale and exhale, drop the hands. Let's inhale our shoulders up to the ears and bring them back down, purposefully drawing your shoulder blades together, imagining again that somebody has taken their thumb points and pressed the back of your heart upward. Purposefully and intentfully keep your shoulder blades drawing together, breathing in and out of your belly, lifting up your heart center. Strengthening that space in your upper back between your shoulder blades. Take one more long inhale and exhale. Really solve that down. Let's inhale our hands out and up. Exhale out and down. Exhale out and up. Exhale out and down. And one more inhale out and up. And then exhale. Let's take our hands out to the side and kind of swan dive forward, hinging at the hips. And then place your hands underneath your shoulder. Now I'm going to remove my bolster and sit down on my mat. And then let's just draw our heart center forward and maybe bring our elbows to the mat, stretching out the outside and the back of the right hip. Continue to clip your elbows sort of back as you draw your heart center forward. Take a nice inhale and exhale. One more inhale. And then exhale, rise up. Walk your hands a little bit forward and feel that experience of further stretching out the back of your right hip and the outside of your right hip if your right foot's in front. Take another inhale and exhale, walk your hands back. Bring your hands overhead on your inhale. Hands together at the top. And then curl to the left as we go into Ardha Chandrasana. Draw your right shoulder back as you do that. Opening up the heart center as much as you can. Take a nice inhale, rise up. Exhale your hands down. Your foot that's in front, place it behind. So in my circumstance, that's my left foot that's in front. My right foot is close to my body. It doesn't really matter which foot on your end is like that, as long as it's not the one that started out. And then let's take our hands out overhead. Exhale, bring them out to the side and then hinge forward, drawing your heart center forward. Place your elbows on the mat. Continue to draw the heart center forward as you clip your elbows backwards, stretching out the outside and back of your left hip. Breathing evenly and slowly. And smoothly. Now straighten out your arms and walk your hands as far forward as feels good for you to get a nice stretch of the outside and back of your left hip. Inhale, rise up. Walk our hands back. Inhale our hands out and up. And exhale, bring them back down. Place your hands behind your back as much as you can. Draw the shoulders together, draw the elbows together. Lift up your heart center and continue to lift, almost lifting your sits bones off the floor slightly. Open up your throat. And continue to work on lifting up the heart and opening up the throat. Take a nice inhale and exhale. Release that. Let's circle our shoulders again. One more inhale. Exhale them down. And now let's move into that Matsya Mudra. That's that seated twisting pose. So take your left foot, place it underneath your right hip. Adjust your sit bones just a little bit so that you're sitting on them equally. And take your left your right foot on the outside of your left leg. So you can remove your flesh if you need to from the outside of your buttocks. You can lift up and sit back down to increase your equal contact of your sits bones with the floor, whatever works best for you. Then I'm going to have you take your right hand up alongside, or raise your right hand in the air, right arm alongside your right ear, and then take your right arm behind you and place it on the floor. Take your left arm up alongside your left ear, twist to the right, bring your left elbow down on the outside of your right knee, and then with your hand lifted up. So we're bringing our left shoulder to the right, so kind of bringing it forward as we bring our right shoulder back, and our palm of our left hand is facing to the right. Just focus on drawing the crown of the head up as you twist to the right. You don't have to deeply engage this twist. The body isn't really fully warmed up yet. Take another inhale, and then exhale. Turn to face forward. And let's change the orientation of our feet. Bring our right foot underneath our left hip. Take our left foot on the outside of our right leg. Go ahead and adjust your sit bones so that you're sitting nice and evenly on your sit bones. Take your left arm up alongside your left ear. Place it behind you on the floor. Take your right arm up alongside your right ear. Twist using just the movement of your body to the left. Clip your left elbow on the outside of your left knee. Using your muscle energy, twist a little bit and bring your right shoulder forward, having your right hand facing to the left. Your palm is open and facing to the left. Then draw the crown of your head up. And on your exhale, you can deepen into your twist if you have available space. You're massaging your kidneys right now. You're massaging your adrenal glands. You are facilitating healthy digestion. Take one more inhale, and then exhale. Turning to face forward, you can release out of this pose ever so gently. I have text messages coming in. Hold on just a moment. Oh, it's just somebody from work, and that's okay. Okay, so now we're going to start off with our sun salutations, just because it's a beautiful way to warm up our spine. And I really like to do sun salutations with lots of modifications depending on the class that we're doing. So I like to adjust how we do our sun salutations based upon the class, the level of intensity, and what we're accomplishing in that class. So moving up towards kind of the top of your mat. In my circumstance, the top of the mat is always facing the right when I'm on camera with you all so that you can see the movements. But it's my round mat, as you can see. So whatever your top of the mat is at home, probably facing the camera or facing your computer. So inhale your hands out and up. And then on your exhale, bend your legs as you fold over them, pressing your torso against the tops of your thighs, hands down to the floor, dropping your crown. Inhale into a flat spine. It helps if you anchor your hands on your shins, draw your shoulders away from the ears, and then exhale, fold down. Inhale, reverse that swan dive, bringing your hands out to the sides and up. And exhale, bring your hands down to heart center. Inhale. Exhale our hands down. Inhale them out and up. And then exhale, bending your legs, swan dive forward, folding your torso over your thighs. Drop your hands, drop your crown. Inhale into a flat spine, exhaling down. Inhale, reverse swan dive all the way up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale. Exhale the hands down. Inhale them out and up. And exhale, swan dive forward, bending the legs, laying the torso across the top of the thighs. Drop your crown. Inhale into a flat spine. Exhale down and take your blocks. Take your right foot back behind you. Drop your right knee as we head into this lunge. Bring your blocks so that they're underneath your shoulders. Inhale your heart center up. Again, imagine somebody's taking their thumbs and sort of pressing up your heart from behind. And then exhale. You can place your blocks down. Take your left knee back to join your right. And just stay with your hips up nice and high and walk your hands forward. We call this puppy dog pose. So in puppy dog pose, I want you to focus on opening up the heart center, widening the shoulders, and drawing the heart center down, but keeping your hips up high and drawing your belly button in. Take a nice inhale. Exhale, rise up. Take your blocks again. And take your right foot forward. Focus on lifting up your heart center. And then on your exhale, take your left foot forward to join our right. Inhale into that flat spine. Exhaling down. Inhale, reverse swan dive all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale. Exhale the hands down. Inhale our hands out and up. And then exhale, swan dive forward. Drop your hands, drop your crown. Inhale into a flat spine. Exhale down and take our left foot back. Drop our left knee, hands underneath the shoulders as we lift up our heart center. And then exhale, bring our right knee back to join the left. Walk our hands forward in puppy dog pose. Take a nice inhale. Fully exhale. Inhale, rise up. Take our left foot forward. Inhale our heart center up. And then exhale, bring the right foot forward to join the left. Inhale into a flat spine and exhale down. Inhale, reverse swan dive all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. So as you go through the next sun salutation, I want you to imagine you're doing it through water. Imagine the fluidity of your joints as you are moving through your sun salutation. So let's inhale our hands out and up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Drop your crown. Inhale into a flat spine. Exhale down and take our right foot back. Inhale our heart center up. Maybe this time you have a little bit more movement of the hips and you can move the hips forward to open up your right stomach. Exhale, taking our left knee back and walking our hands forward into puppy dog. Inhale. Exhale, walk your hands back and take your right foot forward. Inhale the heart center up. And then exhale, take our left foot forward to join the right. Inhale into a flat spine. Exhale down. Inhale, reverse swan dive all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale. Exhale the hands down and then inhale them up. Exhale, swan dive forward. Left foot back. Inhale the heart center up. Exhale, right knee back and walk our hands forward. Inhale. Exhale, rise up. and take our left foot forward. Inhale, lifting up the heart center. And exhale, take our right foot forward. Inhale into that flat spine. Exhaling down. Inhale, reverse swan dive all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale. Exhale our hands down. Inhale them out and up. And then exhale, swan dive forward. Drop your crown. Inhale into a flat spine. Exhale down and take our right foot back. Inhale our heart center up. Exhale, left foot back to join the right and walk our hands forward. Inhale. Exhale, rise up and take our right foot forward. Inhale the heart center up. Exhale, left foot forward to join the right. Inhale into a flat spine. Exhaling down. Inhale, reverse swan dive all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale. Exhale the hands down. Inhale them out and up. And then exhale, swan dive forward. Drop your crown. Inhale into a flat spine. Exhale down and take our left foot back. Inhale our heart center up. Exhale, right knee back to join the left and walk the hands forward on your inhale. Exhale, rise up and take our left foot forward. Inhale our heart center up. And exhale, bring right foot forward to join the left. Inhale into a flat spine. Exhaling down. Inhale, reverse swan dive all the way up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Let's inhale our hands up. Exhale, swan dive forward. I'm going to have you place your blocks in front of you. And let's move back into a plank pose, but drop our knees, bring our elbows in, drop our heart center and our chin in inchworm. Inhale, move forward and drop onto your belly. Inhale, draw your ears, your shoulders up to the ears, draw them back down as you lift up your heart center. And just focus on low cobra here, lifting up the heart center. Elbows are close to the ribs. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, bring shoulders up to the ears and back down on the back as you lift up your heart center. Bringing up the heart from behind. Exhale down. Inhale, lift up the shoulders. Draw them down on the back as you lift up the heart center. And exhale down. Now, we call this spider, but today, because we're focused on matters of the water, I'm going to call it crab. So take your hands out like crab arms. Draw the shoulders together, widening your collarbones in the front, stretching out those chest muscles. And then on your inhale, lift up. Feel all those back muscles working. And exhale, float back down. Inhale, lift up, drawing the shoulders together, but widening your collarbones and widening your chest muscles. Really shining your heart center up. And then exhale down. And then let's do one more time and hold it for a couple of breath cycles. Feeling all those back muscles engaging. One more inhale, exhale, lower down. Now place your hands in front of you. We call this next one crocodile. So this is another creature that dwells on the land and in the water. So hands out in front and just lift up. So you're lifting up your heart center, keeping your arms straight in front of you. You should feel a beautiful engagement of your middle and lower back muscles and an opening of the heart center at the same time. Go ahead and lay down, stretch your arms out in front of you, stretch your feet out behind you, gently stretching the front of your body in this way. Take a nice inhale. Exhale. Let's rise up into crocodile again. So just lift up the heart center, Your hands are on the floor, your arms are straight, and then anchoring your heels of your hands down, just lift up a little bit. Feeling all those middle and lower back muscles engaging, which should feel really good. Take a nice inhale, and then exhale. Drop your elbows down, bring them back underneath your shoulders. Draw your shoulders down and behind, close together. Lift up your heart center. Continue to draw your shoulders away from the ears and down the back, moving them backwards. Nice inhale and fully exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more inhale. Exhale, lower down. Place your hands under your shoulders and let's move back into child's pose. Separating our knees, bringing our toes together, sitting back on the heels, and then walking our hands forward. So all these muscles that you've now been working, now you can feel them begin to lengthen and extend. Take a nice inhale. Fully exhale. Inhale, rise up. Place your left hand in front and thread your right hand underneath your left arm, laying across your right shoulder. So you're still in child's pose, but you're stretching out the back of your right shoulder. Take one more inhale. Exhale, bring your right hand forward and thread your left hand underneath your right arm, laying across your left shoulder. And then inhale, rise up. Place your hands in front of you, elbows underneath. And let's just move forward just slightly. So our hips are up in the air, wiggle your tail. And then we're going to move into a version of frog pose. And I'm going to caution you to move to the depth of this pose that feels okay to you. If you want to make this pose feel safer to you, you might take your bolster and place it underneath your torso. That's totally acceptable. And then take your feet out so that they're in alignment with your knees. And then gradually work your knees out. Now, so if you find that you want to lay on top of something so that you have some support while you're gently opening up your hips, your inner hips like this, feel free. That's totally okay. You can be as high as you need to be on this. But this is called frog pose. And in frog pose, what we are doing is gently opening up the creases of our groins. So the more you move your knees kind of up towards the shoulders, the more you encourage that opening. And honestly, I think it feels very nice to have the bolster underneath, so I'm going to leave it the way it is. And what I want you to do is just take this time to breathe gently in and out. And allow the body to naturally settle in and open up in this pose. So the hip joint, has many sides. We have the front of the hips. We have the back, which connects to the gluteus muscles and the piriformis. We have the outside of the hip. And indeed, we have the inside, this groin. And this is the part, if we're in the wide-legged fold, that maybe doesn't always want to open up. So doing some gentle opening like this every single day can be helpful if your goal that you've established is to have deeper forward wide-legged folds, either if you're laying on the mat or standing up. For now, I'm going to remove the bolster so that I can give my body a little bit more time to sink a little bit lower. But I urge caution. You do not want to tear any of these ligaments or muscles of the groin. So be sure to engage your core muscles while you're doing this. Let's take a nice long inhale, and then exhale, rise up, move out of that, and then let's move back into child's pose. And observe if the child's pose feels any different, having opened up your groin muscles like that. Let's take another inhale, and then exhale, rise up. Okay, so let's tuck our toes and sit back briefly on our feet. So we talk in every class about the importance of the foot. All the little bones of the feet, they're moving and connecting together, lots of fine bones, lots of muscles in the foot. The feet take a beating. They are the foundation. And if our feet aren't right, the rest of us isn't right. So take a nice inhale. We're just stretching out the bottoms of the feet. We don't have to stay here long. Fully exhale. And then let's release our feet, sit on top of our feet, and sit back down on our heels again. So this way we're stretching out the top of our feet a little bit. Inhale. And exhale. And maybe you want to work your shoulders down and lift up your heart center, much like we're going to do in fish. This is sort of a modified camel, honestly, but that's okay. I know it's a land-dwelling mammal, but we're lifting up our heart center. Take a nice inhale. And exhale. One more inhale. And then exhale. Let's swing our feet forward. Moving into staff pose, because staff pose is a wonderful opportunity to work on our core muscle strength. So draw your shoulders together, back and down. Anchor your hands on the floor by placing your palms face down on the floor, and use that as an opportunity to draw your shoulders down. Continue to have your feet facing, your toes facing the ceiling. You can even flex your toes a little bit, drawing them back towards your knees. You can have a slight bend to your knees if that works for you. But continue to draw your side waist up, draw your belly button in, lifting up your heart center. Take a nice inhale. Fully exhale. And let's inhale our hands out and up. And exhale, hinge forward. Arms up nice and high. If you want to, you can place them on your shins, drawing your elbows backwards as you bring your heart center forward. Notice I'm not trying to lay down completely on my legs. It's early in the morning. I don't have that flexibility this time of the day. It's okay to acknowledge where we are at in our process. Take a nice inhale. Fully exhale, drawing the heart center forward. Inhale. And exhale, drawing the heart center forward. Take a nice inhale. And then exhale, rise up. Bring our feet together at Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose. So in bound angle, I just want you to focus on drawing your elbows back against your ribs. So I'm actually holding my ankles instead of my feet, lifting up the heart center. Really focus on the heart lift. Focus on drawing your shoulder blades together and down your back. And take a nice inhale. Fully exhale. One more inhale. And then on your exhale, place your hands behind you. You can spider your fingers. You can have your hands flat on the floor, whatever works for you. Draw your elbows back. Draw your shoulder blades together. Widen your collarbones. Widen your chest muscles. Lift up your heart as you open up your throat, dipping your head back. Lift, lift, lift by drawing the shoulders down and drawing the heart center up. Take another inhale and then exhale. You can release that. Place your feet in front of you. And going along with our water theme today, let's do a little bit of boat pose to strengthen our core muscles. We're going to keep our feet on the floor because this is gentle yoga. So move your heart center back, draw your shoulders back and down, draw your belly button in, protecting your lower spine, and just tip back, creating a letter V with your body and your thighs. And really just by being here, hands touching the legs, hands not touching the legs, just by doing this, you are working all of your abdominal muscles. Let's take another inhale and then exhale, fold over your legs, stretching out your back muscles. Inhale, rise up, moving back into that boat pose. So draw your shoulders back and down as you bring your crown, your back of your head back in alignment with your body, with your spine. You can hang on to your thighs. You can have your hands off. You can have your arms parallel to the floor. Whatever you do, continue to draw your shoulders together, draw your belly button in, protect your lower spine. If you feel some shaking, that's okay. This is detoxifying, and you're strengthening all of your core muscles. Take another inhale, exhale, rise up, and fold over your legs. Inhale, rise up. Feet remain on the floor. Legs remain bent, knees facing the ceiling. Draw your shoulders back and down and lean back one last time. Maybe you want to do something pretty cool. Bring your arms out and forward. Inhale out, exhale forward. Inhale out, exhale forward. Inhale out and exhale forward. Sit up and fold over your legs. And hopefully that feels really nice to you. So now we're going to move into that fish pose. So move down your mat and just lay on your mat. Right now, my legs are bent and they can stay bent or be out in front of you, laying down on the mat. I'm going to actually start with mine in this final position with them extended out. So I want you to take a nice inhale and then exhale, draw your shoulders down to the mat and start lifting up your heart center. Continuing with that motion, lift up on your elbows, lifting up your heart center, and move your hands so that they are back behind your hips, And I'm sitting on my fingers right now, but as I move deeper into fish, I'm actually going to be moving back so that my hips are on top of my hands. So lift up your heart center, drawing your shoulders away from the ears and down. So you're really getting an intense front of the chest stretch here. And then draw your elbows together as much as you're able to and move your hips so that they are on top of your hands. Continuing to lift, now you can dip your head backwards, exposing your heart, exposing your throat, and continue to work this pose by bending the elbows more deeply and lifting up your heart center, drawing your shoulders away from your ears. So you probably saw that movement with my elbows there. This is fish. And you can continue to work the pose by lifting up the heart center, bending the elbows. So that kind of moves your torso forward towards your toes. And you can do some creative things with this pose. One thing you can do is you can bend your legs and use it as an opportunity to stretch out the hips, kind of doing a reclined pigeon. You can take bound angle pose with your soles of your feet together and your knees out to the side. And you can even take boat pose legs. Whatever you like. Let's release out of the pose. And find our way to laying down on the mat. So you may have felt that this was an intense pose. You're not used to opening up your heart that way and having your elbows on the mat. And that's okay. You don't have to take it for very long, but it is a really beautiful throat opening, heart opening pose. Let's take our right ankle, cross it over our left knee, and reach through and thread the needle. Taking reclined pigeon. The more we draw our left thigh into the chest, the more we stretch out the back and side of our right hip. Take another inhale and exhale. Drop your left foot down, right foot on the mat. Cross our left ankle over our right knee. Reach through and grab your right thigh from behind. Draw your shoulders down to the mat as you draw your right leg backwards, stretching out your left outside and back of your hip. Take a nice inhale. Exhale, dropping your right foot down, placing your left foot on the floor. And let's move into Shavasana, stretching out our legs in front of us. And starting to settle in. Scan your body, looking for places where you may feel stuck, where you may feel tension, where you may feel that the breath is not moving freely. Try to find stillness, releasing all tension, releasing all muscular energy. And while you lay here breathing gently in and out of your nose, I invite you to the water. Imagining you are a sea creature, you are a fish. And taking yourself on a tour through the water, through the kelp beds, through the coral reefs, feeling the filtered sun through the top of the water. Finding your way through various grasses and kelps and other things that may exist in the water. The feeling, the sensation of the gentle whoosh in your ears as you're not quite hearing what's on the outside world beyond the water. Maybe you hear muffled voices. Maybe you hear the occasional thump underwater. Maybe you hear a bubbling. Connect with the lightness that you may feel when you are in the water. Connect with the fluidity that you experience as you gently move your joints in the water. Continuing to fall more deeply into a state of relaxation, taking all weight out of your face and out of your neck and your chest and your shoulders. Taking all resistance out of your torso and allowing your legs to be very heavy into the mat. I invite you to stay in Shavasana as long as you need to. At least 5 minutes of stillness and breathing per day. The light in me sees the light in you. The yogi in me honors the yogi in you. Namaste. And thank you for joining me this morning.